Hello everyone, it's Ray from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. Give it a house show. How you doing? So we're doing good. We are making progress. Still super happy about how the legs turned out. These little fancy pants legs that we decided to do, that you of course can't see because my white balance is off. But anyway, so now we are going to put the table together and finish it up, and be ready to move on to whatever next pieces. So hope you enjoy it. Right, so we are back. Everything has been stained. I roughed these up with a little bit of sandpaper to kind of age them up a little bit. And so we've got the tabletops here. We have the potential apron under the table. We have the other one. We have the old legs, which probably not going to need these now. And then we have the new legs, because by God, if I spent this much time doing these, we're using these ones. So we can go ahead and set these over here a bit, because first thing we need to do is we need to glue these two tabletops together. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at both pieces. We're going to say which one looks the prettiest, even though it's going to have a tablecloth on it. I kind of like this one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Gorilla Wood glue, and we are going to spread it onto here. If we can open it. And we want to cover this whole surface basically, but not with a ton, because of course it's going to go squishing out, if we do that. But paying especially close attention to the edges, right? Make sure it's connecting really good, and I'm going to need a little bit more glue than that. Here, let's do that. There we go. That should do it. All right. Spread this out, and then I've got my 1, 2, 3 blocks, and I've got my jewelry bench block, which is stainless steel, which is nice and heavy. So I can set those on here so we can make sure that it dries nice and flat. And since it's going to take a few to dry, of course we want to get that process started first before we discuss what we're going to do with the rest of it. All right, so there we go. Sandwich those together. Wipe off my hands because there's a ton of glue on them. Okay, so these sandwich together real good, and there's going to be glue squishing out, so I am going to make sure I'm nice and as flush as I'm going to get on here. I'm going to put the stainless steel block in the center because it's the heaviest. And that way when I miss and move it, it will help keep it straight when I move it back. So the first round of glue, not too bad. And then we've got this end here and this end here. Okay, everybody's lined up, everybody's level. Get an extra glue. And we may find it wasn't as level as I thought, which is fine because we can always sand it. It's a nice thing with wood. All right, scoot you there and then recheck the alignment. All right, so we should be good. All right, so let that sit there. See, some late comers to the party there, squishing out. All right, so now we have our legs here. And we need to decide which one of these ones we're going to do. So remember, it was either going to be this one on top or these ones. But I've come up with another alternative. So if you look at these, so these are designed, so obviously this part is going to be facing out, depending on which corner it is. So if it's sitting here, it's going to face out like this. And you have this long piece here. Now this is designed so that you can fit this up under the thing, right? But if you notice, put that down to the shoulder where that would stick out, that's not going down far enough, right? But if you put both of them there, they do. So here's my thought. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this underneath like we had originally planned. And here comes more glue. Really? And then once we have those on there, and these are nice and steady, we'll clamp these ones. Then we'll attach the legs. And then we can attach this on top here. So we'll look and see, maybe we want to miter it, might be a good idea. It's going to take more than one piece to span here, obviously. so that's fine, but we can at least cut the ones on the ends down, maybe do those first, I don't know. And then of course the legs, that can be a different project. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to let that dry for a few, and then we will start doing it slowly and decide what we want to do kind of as we see it as we go. It's usually the way I do that. Close that up. All right, so I'm going to let this dry for a bit, and then we will get on with that. And the nice thing is we don't have to wait for this to, like, say, completely dry. Because of the way we're attaching these, we're going to end up having to clamp anyway. So this is just giving the centerpiece time to kind of grab and attach while I get my clamps. Okay, so there's the clamps. This is reflecting all kinds of light here. We'll put that on there because that's got to be irritating. That's not working. Speaking of irritating. Here, we'll put this just in case. That's Alice in Wonderland and Gaelic. Can I pronounce the title of it? No. I can get you this part. But the rest of it, no. Yeah. Even if you kind of know the key to some of the phonetics, it's still, there's so many rules. So someday though, I'll be able to figure that out. And you would think of all the, translate, you would think they would have an audiobook, and it just doesn't exist, which is criminal, I think. So anyways, I'll be back in just 1 second. All right, so we should be good. I'll get this out of the way here so it'll stop reflecting everything. And the 1, 2, 3 blocks. And of course more glue squished out, because why wouldn't it? Okay, so should be okay for the moment. Again, like I said, we're going to be clamping it, so it'll be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our top was there. So we're going to take these now, and we are going to glue these on the underside here. Yeah, helps if you open the glue. Dear God. All right. Gonna be like that, is it? All right, so just like we did all the other stuff, I'm just gonna spread this out like so. And we'll do the 2 long ends first before we go fiddling with the short ends. Ooh, look at that, I caught it before it did a bunch of damage. Okay, make sure we're even here, and I'm gonna start clamping. And then we can go through with the toothpick, at the end. I'm gonna put them fairly far apart for now, just because it makes it easier to get the glue off. And then once the glue's off, then I can clamp them a little better. Clamps. And now we get the toothpick. I'm going to start cleaning some of this glue off of here. Go ahead and do a couple of them on the ends as well while I'm here, just because we want to make sure everything's staying down. Go a little farther in on these. Sorry, I keep having to stop and start because this stupid program that mirrors my phone so I can see what you guys are seeing is being petulant. So now we're going to do the other side, same way we did the first one. So now that we've got those done and the glue more or less cleaned up, I'm going to go ahead and put even more clamps on there, just so everything is nice and firm and held down real good. Then we're going to let this dry, and then I will come back and we will do the end pieces, and that one will fly off and try to kill us. So fine, you are fired. That's the thing with these clamps. They're great, they're springy and whatever, but these little feet, which are, you know, part of what help them to grip onto stuff, you know, even at different heights slightly or whatever, they like to do this thing where they flip around and try to kill you. So he's going to be punished by going in there. So I'll join you guys back when this has dried sufficiently that we can get these pieces on here. Okay, so this is probably dried sufficiently enough for us to go ahead and do the ends, but we'll leave some of the clamps on here, or, you know, all the clamps on there. So we have our end pieces here that we cut, and they fit just fine, which is great. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll put that on fast forward while I glue this on. I'm going to glue it and put the clamps on and do the toothpick thing, you know, the usual. Alright, so now we have all the sides with their little wooden pieces on them. I did check to make sure they fit, because if they hadn't I would have sanded them down. But so, and did I mention these can be infuriating, these clips? So anyways, we're going to let this completely go, and then we will come back and we are going to put these legs on next and then continue. So see you guys back in a minute. Alright, so I have since flipped it over, taken the clamps off, and put the 1, 2, 3 blocks on the ends because they were the most recently glued. Of course, as I'm taking the clamps off, I shot 2 of them in 2 completely different directions in my living room. Oh, those things. I have a love-hate relationship with them. I really, really do. Alright, so this is our base of our table so far. Okay, and it's got a little bit of glue mess, but again, we're going to have a tablecloth permanently affixed to it, so I'm not terribly worried about that. If this was a table that was going to be on display, say in a dining room without a tablecloth necessarily, yes, I would care, because we got a little gap here too. So now what we're going to do is we are going to attach these, and so they are going to sit right in here like this into that corner. They're going to butt up against that corner, so we're going to put glue on this bottom side and then on the 2 edges where they're going to meet this. And then we're going to let these sit and dry for a while because we want these to be nice and steady. Then once we get those in, we'll deal with this stuff here. So this time I'm going to put a little bit of glue. I'm going to use one of the spare patterns that I had left over. And I wish I had drawn this myself, because this would be a great example of something to make as a, you know, kind of freebie download thing, but that's not my work, so I can't really do that. Okay, so on these, you have these 2 parts here where it cuts in. Those are going to be your outside edges. So that's where I'm going to put this bit of glue. And I'm going to face those to the outside. Let's set that there. Oh, now I need another toothpick. Whoops. Should have thought that through a little better. Okay. Put a little bit of this extra glue. We definitely don't need that much. Really? You're going there. Okay. And then I'm not going to do any kind of clamping, obviously, of this. With these ones, you really want to wait until they're set up to turn it around and put them on the feet, because they will splay on you. So, because I used to think, oh, I'll do that and that way they'll dry where everything's even. Nope, that's not the case. Okay, so then we've got these two shoulder parts here. That's where I'm going to put the extra glue for the corner. And same thing, I'm going to face these to the outside. This will ensure that your little feet stick out the correct direction too, because we definitely want that. And the trick is, do not bump the other one while removing the glue from this one. And again, this is the bottom. I'm not overly concerned. I just don't want huge blobs of glue. Okay. Okay, so it's in there. It's nice and square. And we'll do these sides here. So a little bit on the bottom, and then here's the two shoulder pieces, so go like so. Sit that down. Yeah, this is the fun part because you're getting to put it together, but it's also the not as fun part because you got to play hurry up and wait with it. Because of course you really want to let this stuff dry. You don't want to go fiddling around with it, because then you're going to have a lopsided table. So patience does kind of pay off with this part here. And our last one, there we go. Okay, so put you there, swing that around. Press it in there nice and firm. And just get the extra. Okay. And I put this in the wrong direction. Wow. Good job, me. Idiot. Okay. I had the glue in the right place. I did not, however, have the leg in the right place. Okay. Thought something looked a little off. All right. So we are going to leave this now. I will throw this away. And I will come back to you much later when this has had a chance to really dry. And then we are going to do this stuff here. We're going to see how we want to do this. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. Hey, this gives me a chance to edit what I already have and see how many hours over I've gone. Hopefully not much. Okay, see you guys in a minute. All right, so here we have it. We have our table, and the glue has dried. I let it dry overnight. It was easier. So our table legs actually look a lot more in scale, I think, than they would have had they been these. So even better, kind of a bonus. So now what we want to do is we want to add the decorative piece across here to the apron of it so that it covers this part here and rests sort of on the shoulder of this. So earlier I was taking a look with these and I'm like, oh no, they're slightly too short. So since I'm not going to be able to cut an 1/8 of an inch off here, this is a 1/2 inch, this is 3/8 of an inch, I went ahead and found some more scrap pieces. So this is 3/8 of an inch by 1/16, whereas this is 1/2 inch by 1/8. So it's going to be a little thinner, but that's not a big deal because it's just decorative. It's not structural, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put these across here and secure them underneath the apron here and on these legs. Since they're so thin, I'm not going to worry about mitering it. It's kind of silly, especially when we're going to have a tablecloth on it. So we're going to have to take on the long sides 2 pieces to glue them together. Ideally, if you're doing this, you know, prepare ahead of time, unlike I do, and go get the long piece, which I didn't do, but this is what we're going to do. So I went ahead and stained 6 of them, so I had plenty. And I think we will continue, you know, so we've got our long edge going all the way here, and the short edge is the one that, I'm going to put it where you can see it here, that might help. The shorter edge is the one that meets it here, so we'll continue that same way. We'll have this one in between these. So in order to do that, I think the best way to do it is we will do these first, and then we can measure these so that they're covering up the outside of it. So I hope that made sense on some planet. I think it does. Okay, so with these ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold this up to here, and I'm going to go from, see if we can get you where you can see it. All right, I'm going to go from this edge of here to this edge of here. I'm kind of ignoring the tabletop, right? This is separate. So I'm going to go from here to here and kind of hold it upside down might be the easiest, she says, with it not being easy really at all. All right, make sure we're level there, and then get the trusty pencil, and we will make a mark here. And these ones I am going to measure each one fresh, just in case. All right, so I've got my very hard to see pencil line there. I'm going to get the easy cutter. I'm going to do the easy cutter right on the pencil line itself, because again, you know, the pencil line we know is just to the side of where we need to be, and this is going to take the material out basically at that pencil line. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm got my sandpaper, because see, it leaves kind of little raggedy edges, so we just kind of want to do one little swipe to knock those back, and we're going to glue it on here. So I'll get my spare pattern and a little bit of glue. Don't need a ton. And another toothpick. So what we're going to do is we are going to put glue on the bottom edge here. I'm also going to put glue on the legs here and here where it's going to meet with those. Okay, so do that real quick. And not a ton, of course, because you don't want to have to remove a ton. But we do want it to be nice and secure. So, and I know you can't see this very well. Sorry, the table's really long for my desk. So there we are. Okay, so we'll flip this down so that's at the bottom. And we're going to put this here. Okay, so there we go, like that. Minus the extraneous glue, which I'm going to get rid of right now. So there we go. Oh yeah, I should probably do the inside too, huh? That might be fun. At least there's not much. Okay, so here's how that looks now. Okay, and I'm going to do this side here. It'll probably be easier to see, you know, of course, once we get to the long sides, because I'm not having to hold it super awkward. But where did my stuff go? Here we are. All right, so same thing, holding it here. And then draw my pencil line. And then cut. There we have that. Now, for these long sides, I'm going to do them slightly different in that I'm going to make the long piece before, instead of like gluing one piece down and then trying to fit it to the other. I'm going to go ahead and make each long piece, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do the join in the center, you know, instead of having it offset, because that will drive my OCD insane. So this one we're going to use a ruler. And so now I'm going to go from the outside of this edge piece we just put on to the outside of this edge piece, so it's nice and square. And so that is 29.1 millimeters. Okay, so we're going to put this one here. Nope, we need to divide in half, don't we? Yes, we do. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so 14 and a half. All right, so what we'll do is we'll get this stuff out of the way here. Okay, so they're gonna meet about 14 and a half. So I'm gonna put that here. I'm gonna grab a second one and put it here. And then I'm gonna make my pencil mark at 29.1 on this side. And then at the very beginning on this side. So I'm gonna cut a little bit off of each of them. With this one, I am gonna go to the outside of this pencil line only because, you know, I really don't want to be short. And where'd you go? There you go. All right, so we have both of those. Take this, we're going to square up this end because we're going to take these two ends we cut, and those are the ones we're going to put together. So we need them to be nice and flat. Okay, here we have it. So they're going to go together like so. And I'm going to take my toothpick, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. And I'm going to use my ruler. And I'm going to line these up so that I know that they're square. I'm going to wipe the little bit of glue off of there. Take this, kind of push it up so any glue that was underneath gets out of the way. And there we go. And we're just going to not even touch that for a few minutes. Let that come together. So I'm going to measure this side here. I have a suspicion it'll be the same. If it is, we already know how to measure it. Okay, and it is. So we're going to do the same thing here. So we did our join at 14 and a half. These two together. Again, 29.1. And our starting line. I'm going to cut the ends off. And we're going to square them up, and then we'll join these together too. And then what we'll do is we'll let this kind of sit for a few minutes and set up, because we want these to at least be holding together stably enough for us to get glue on them to get them on there, right? So take our two cut ends, put those together, a little bit of glue. And the Gorilla Glue is nice and strong, so I'm sure it'll hold it just fine. Like I said, we only need it to hold it long enough for us to get it in place, because it's going to be gluing to the main structures. So, okay, so there we go. All right, so we're going to let those dry, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. All right, so these are okay to move and handle now. So what we're going to do is I've got it on its side here. Again, we're going to put glue on the table legs here and catching these end bits, and then on one long edge of this. So let's see which edge looks the best. So since this side looks the best here, and that side looks the best there, so we're going to make sure these are to the outside. Okay, so we're going to put these on there, and then I'll flip it over and do the other one. The nice thing is, since these are going to extend beyond here, the cut ends will be hidden, so we don't have to worry about touching up the stain. Same with this, since we put the cut ends together, these ends are already stained, so no touch up, which is always good. So I'm going to put on fast forward. I'm going to do those two, and I will come back to you when we are good. Since these ones are longer, I am going to go ahead and tape some parts of them. I'm going to tape these ends, make sure they stay down real good and square, and then I'm going to tape a couple spots in the center just to make sure it's holding down to this piece here. I'm going to do it very carefully though, because it's supposed to be straight here and flush with this inside edge of this. So that's what I'm going to put my tape on, and then I'll kind of pull gently down this way and do it to the top. Maybe one more in the center. Right, there we go. So now we will do the other side. There we have it. So we're going to let that dry completely as well, and then we'll come take the tape off and take a look, because essentially, sorry about that, essentially it'll be done. So we are going to put a protective coating on top of this. I'm trying to decide which one I want to use, so, but hey, I got some time because this has to dry. So see you back in a minute. So I have taken off the tape, and check it out. Look at that. It looks like a real table. So the cool thing with this that I've noticed, I mean, there's a spot here where I'm probably going to touch up the stain, maybe, I don't know. Like I said, tablecloth, but the thing I noticed with this and making this is that, you know, if we had not been covering it with a tablecloth, we could have done just a little bit more on the top, and this would have been a really nice looking table. So I'm going to keep this in mind when I go to make the table for the new house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a protective seal on it. You can use polyurethane, polyacrylic, all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, the polyurethane coating stuff that I have is matte, and I do want this to be shiny. So that my usual go-to then is the gloss glaze, the Sculpey, which is technically it's made for polymer clay, but it's a really nice glaze. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the legs and the inside first, and you know, the bottom surface of this, and then kind of work my way around. We'll let that dry, and then we'll do the tabletop. So I'm obviously going to fast forward through that process. But yeah, so here we go. So I'm going to go clean my brush up and we will let this dry. And I will come back to you with the finished project and then we will see how it looks on the base and all that. So back with you in a minute. All right, so our table is dry and check it out. I'll hold it kind of in the light here so you can maybe see how it shines up there. Now it's looking more like a real piece of furniture, you know. And so had we done, say, the top instead of having the two, or even have the two thin ones and then do another piece where it's a little bit thicker and beveled, you know, or more decorative, this would be a nice dining room table, you know. So yeah, and this is basic table construction 101. So, you know, a top, and then you have your apron to hold all the stuff together, and your legs, which you can have whatever kind of legs you want. And, you know, again, just give it a try. I mean, I didn't think I was going to be able to do this. It didn't cost me hardly anything because that whole bag of those scrap strips, like $3 or something. And just give it a shot. You know, you can take this and make your own by scaling it to whatever size you want. Or if you're good at drawing, you can just have this to the side and draw this and then make copies of it so you have them all the same, you know, however you want to do it. But yeah, you never know till you try it. And the nice thing with this is this opens up a lot of possibilities when it comes to the chairs, because then we can do chairs with fancy legs instead of just having the regular, you know, square legs, because we don't know how to do it. And I'm not quite as intimidated by it. I still will be, especially on a smaller scale. I'll probably be a little bit more intimidated for a little bit, but you know, hey, you never know what you could do until you try it. And believe me, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, which is why I did the video the way I did, so that just in case it would be real easy to remove and you never would have known it was there. But you know, hey, I surprised myself. So let's get the base out here. And set this on this. And give me 1 second and I'm going to raise this up so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we kind of got most of it in there. Not too bad. You know, you're not seeing probably a couple inches on either side here, but this fits in here real nice. So I'm going to drag it over. See, I'm going to go this way. So I've got it in the center. So here's how much room we've got left. Leaves plenty of room for the tree and the nice big chairs, plenty of room for the small chairs, and then we can have all the different stuff around. So it's coming along rather nicely, and this is nice. It's not being eaten up by this, which is what I was thinking it was going to look like a bit, but it's not. So next we are going to be working on the tablecloth. And so, of course, again, we've got the striped fabric for it, so we'll do the main tablecloth and probably the smaller ones because the construction's really the same on them. And then we will start on the base. And so I have, and I'll kind of scoot that just a little bit, I have one thing that showed up for it, and this is so cool. I love these things. And I did order this through Amazon because the ones at Hobby Lobby were ridiculous looking. But look, it's little grass, little tufts of grass, to make it look more realistic. So I've got some things for like gravel and some ground cover that looks better than the cheap stuff that comes with the doll houses. So that's coming along with it. So as soon as we get the tablecloth stuff done, then we'll work on the base. Then we'll think about how we're going to attach the dust cover part of it, you know, all those different things. I have a ridiculous idea, but I don't think I can pull that one off. I think that's even beyond me, but we'll see. You never know. So yeah, that's what we're going to do on the next one. So I will see you then. Hey, me, it is Tiff. Bye.